Hi, boys and girls. This week, we're going to be learning about what workers do in our community. Take a look at this picture. This is a picture of a community helper. Do you know the name of this community helper? Yes, this is a firefighter. Do you know what firefighters do? Yes, firefighters keep us safe if there's a fire in our house or if there's an emergency. All right, let's find out what our story is going to be about. The title is called A Day in the Life of a Firefighter, and it was written by Heather Adamson. So, a day in the life of a firefighter. We are going to learn about what firefighters do, what their day looks like, and all the important things they do. Let's get started. This is called the table of contents. And the table of contents is the page at the beginning of a book that lists the different parts of the book and their beginning page numbers. This book is going to be broken down into different parts that tell you what you're going to be reading about. And each part is going to be about firefighters. The first part, how do firefighters begin their work days? That's going to start on page 4. What happens when there is a fire is going to begin on page 6. Are there ever false alarms? That will begin on page 8. What do firefighters eat? Will begin on page 10. Where do firefighters sleep? Will begin on page 12. What do firefighters do when they are not on a fire call? Will begin on page 15. How do firefighters put out fires? Will begin on page 16. What happens after a fire is out? That will begin on page 18. Amazing but true will begin on page 20. Equipment photo diagram will also be on page 20. Glossary will be on page 22, and the index will be on page 23. Let's get started. How do firefighters begin their work days? What do you think? How does their day begin? Make a prediction. Remember, a prediction is a smart guess. How do firefighters begin their workday? Let's find out. Firefighters go to the fire station to start their shift. Firefighter Mark works from 7 in the morning one day until 7 in the morning the next day. When Mark arrives at work, he finds his boots and gloves. He checks his air tank to be sure it is full. He must be ready if there is a fire. I wonder why he needs an air tank. Why do you think he needs one? So when he is in a fire, he can breathe in good oxygen instead of the smoke and all of the dirty stuff that comes in the fire. What happens when there's a fire? What do you think is going to happen? When there's a fire, what do you think the firefighters need to do? Let's find out. People call 911 to report a fire. A dispatcher answers the call and tells the firefighters where to go. The alarm sounds at the station. Mark and the firefighters rush to put on their gear. They drive fire trucks to the fire. So in these pictures, you could see that they're putting on, firefighter Mark is putting on his uniform, which will help protect him from the fire. Are there ever false alarms? What do you think? Do you think fire alarms go off accidentally or when there's not really an emergency? Let's find out. Alarms sometimes go off when there is not a fire. Still, people and firefighters must treat every alarm as a real fire. Firefighters check the building to make sure it is safe. Today, Mark's crew spends an hour checking the building. Mark's crew did not find a fire. So sometimes there are false alarms where the alarm will go off, but the firefighters will always check the building to make sure that it is safe for all of the people that are in. Where do firefighters eat? Where do you think they eat? Take a look at the picture. Let's find out where they eat. Firefighters usually eat at the fire station. It is Mark's turn to cook lunch. He makes pasta and bread in the fire station's kitchen. So here he is, and he's cooking, and remember, that's one of our amazing words, stir. So he is stirring the pasta sauce. And here they are eating lunch at the fire station together. Where do firefighters sleep? Where do you think they sleep? Let's read and find out. Many fire stations have rooms called dorms where firefighters can sleep. After a short nap, Mark and his crew will train together. They practice rescues and learn how to work safely. Firefighters stay busy even when there are no fires. So at the fire station, there's a bunch of beds for all of the firefighters, and they even have nightstands to put their things in, but they sleep at the firehouse instead of sleeping at their homes for that day. What do firefighters do when they are not on a fire call? What do you think they're doing here? I see children in the picture. Do you see them? I wonder what firefighter Mark is telling them. Firefighters teach fire safety. Mark shows these children how a fire truck works. He tells them what to do if there is a fire. Firefighters also go to other emergencies. They give first aid, and they also help the police. How do firefighters put out fires? So in this picture, I see a fire. How are they going to put it out? Let's make a prediction, a smart guess. What do you think they're going to do to put out the fire? Let's read and find out. Firefighters use special equipment to put out fires. Mark and the driver hook up the hose together. Mark wears a mask and an air tank to protect him from smoke. His clothes protect him from the heat and the spraying water. What happens after the fire is out? I wonder, what do the firefighters have to do next? After they put the fire out, what comes next? Let's find out. Firefighters have work to do after a fire is out. Mark cleans the trucks. When his shift is over, Mark will go home, and another firefighter will come to work. Firefighters are always on duty. Amazing, but true. Must be a true fact. Let's find out. Horses pulled early fire engines. Some fire stations did not have horse stables. If there was a fire, the driver had to run to a nearby field and chase down the horses. After hooking up the horses, the crew raced to the fire. So look at long time ago. They didn't have fire trucks, so they got to a fire by using horses. That is an amazing fact. That is definitely true. Take a look at this picture. This is a diagram of a fire truck. Let's find out about all the different parts or important things on a fire truck. Doors. There's doors on the fire truck. This is where the hoses are. Crew cab carries firefighters to the fire. So in this part, this is where the other firefighters sit. So firefighters are in the front that are driving and the passenger, and then there are more firefighters that are in the crew cab. The cab holds the driver and the navigator. So that's where the person who's driving the fire truck goes. This is a picture of a Dalmatian. And a Dalmatian is a spotted dog that is typically the mascot at some fire stations. So those are the fire dogs. Boots That's what the firefighter's wearing. Gloves on his hands, helmet on his head, and the air tank on his back. The ladder is at the top. Take a look at the diagram again. The different parts of a fire truck. All right, and in the back we see the glossary, which gives you a definition of each of the words, and then an index, which has keywords and where you would find it in the story. All right, so I hope you enjoyed our story about firefighters. I want you guys to think, what were some of the things that happened during the day that the firefighters were at the fire station? Do you remember some of the things that they did? Share them with an adult. Tell me, what was your favorite part of the story? Share that with an adult. All right, don't forget, a lot of the amazing words were in our story. So when you hear them, I want you to remember all of the words that we learned earlier in the week. All right, boys and girls, what you could also do is you could draw a picture of a fire truck and see if you can add some of those details, like the ladder, or the cab, or the crew cab, or where the hoses are. Maybe you might draw a picture of a firefighter with all of the equipment that they wear, like their helmet on their head, or the gloves on their hands, or the boots on their feet, or their very important uniform that keeps them safe from the fire and the water. I hope you enjoyed this story. Make sure you share all of your thoughts with your parents, and then definitely share it with your child's teacher. See you soon.